Hi everyone. Um, so I was reading a book, and I thought I should record this book because the book I have just finished. It has quite a relevance in terms of for the citizen of India, and this book is all about why Bharat matters, and it is written by S. Shankar. He is our current Minister of External Affairs, and I'm sure. I think we have watched his most of the iconic viral videos, where he has expressed our interest at global front in many occasions, and those videos been admired and liked by many people, not only in India and across the world. So, what makes him one of the most prolific leader of our generation? There is no doubt that he's one of the stunning uh, candidate as of now who is representing the foreign policy and influencing India, which is we say it that is Bharat, and how it has a great significance in current era. Okay, so this book, why Bharat matters. So I think the title is giving a little bit understanding. Okay, the book cover about Bharat and its significance in the global aspect. So Jaishankar has comprehensively explored and give account of India's significance in the global context. He has wrote this as a not only as a most successful diplomat, but at the same time he has been part of the active politics, and now he understands everything which is happening around the world and how India can take a lead in current era. So the first part he has talked about. Okay, so before getting into it, so he has in the content he has talked about 11 points. Uh, presenting the historical context of India, foreign policy, then geopolitical importance, economic rises, and many other things. So I will cover one by one. So I have made a couple of notes, so I'm going to utilize those notes to explain it better. So to talk about the historical context, so he has deep dive into the India's rich history and tracing its ancient civilization, colonial struggle, and post-independence journey that we had. He has greatly emphasized how the historical backdrop shaped India's contemporary role in the world, which covers our historical significance in terms of the cultural and diversity, and at the same time how our having these such of diversity, how we are modernizing within. Okay, and what ways we have brought the world in many ways in terms of contribution of the businesses, um, uh, you know spiritual quest, then having messaging with one earth one family, which has been always a very important part of India's um, foreign policy program, or any messaging we have provided. It is coming from the ancient India, and that's how we are also progressing ahead, right? Another topic here is discovered the geopolitical importance. The book has really covered India's strategic location and geopolitical significance, right? And because since we have been, of course, we have the tension areas like with the Pakistan and China, and how we are really working towards those geopolitical differences. At the same time, strengthening our borders, plus making a huge influence to the West. That's a very important part, right? And how he has also discussed the India's position as the bridge of between East and West, right? So this is one of the amazing concept he brought, where the hugely popularized synonyms that we have always heard about it. The West is the ultimate savior, and East is always following the West, right? And there's many connotation around it. This particular subject. So he just put this point very clearly. India's position is very clear in terms of how it is going to shape the relationship and the entire foundation of East to West. And he has really talked about the global major global trade routes contributes in its importance on the global stage. Third part topic he discussed about the economic rise, where he discussed about how the India's economic growth and its potential going to make a major global economic powerhouse. He discussed India's demographic dividend, which we are the most youngest population in the world, and at the same time, the human resource capability is one of its kind, and it I think this is the one of the uh, one of the situation we are where our demographic dividend and our young population has to give those dividend, right? And we have to pivot from this point to another. So he has talked about how the middle class system in India has grown up and how they have the aspiration qualities and how they're moving into the development of the country. And at the same time, he talked about the opportunities and the challenges which being posed by the globalization and the technological advancement, and plus some tension in the couple of countries where the Middle East little disturbed from the Yemen side, and then uh, Iran, Iraq, and I think Russia and Ukraine. So how these things are also influencing the economic rise and decline of that. The fourth point, he talked about the cultural influence. The author has really talked about India's soft power and his cultural influence, highlighting the contribution to the literature, his philosophy, art, and spirituality. So these are one of the most soft power India currently possesses, and at the same time, these soft powers are hugely influencing the West and across the globe, not only West. And spirituality is one of them. Yoga is another point. Literature and philosophy is these are the component which has significantly contributed a lot for this country and really helping the globe. He also argues that India's cultural richness enhances global appeal and foster connection with diverse cultural groups around the world. And he also put this point quite straight that we are a generation, we are a country to contribute and combine the diversification of the entire world, and that's very nicely put, right? The fifth point, he has talked about the foreign policy perspective, which is one of his most core and strong area, where he provides insight around the India's foreign policy priorities and challenges. He discussed every foreign policy we make at the level of center, it has to work for you. So every citizen of India has to benefit it from the foreign policy they're bringing and developing, and that's very interesting concept, right? The foreign policy in you. Every policy they are making, developing, and planning, it has to work directly and indirectly, right? So that's how he has put it this particular this point into the perspective, and he also discussed about India's relation with major powers and its approaches, the regional dynamics, and its role in multilateral institutions such as United Nations and G20, how they are strengthening and working on the aspect which can benefit the country and the whole civilization altogether. He also described the global challenges. I mean, being a foreign leader, he talked about these in very bold manner. He really criticized and challenges. He talked about the climate change and criticize, and at the same time with a very constructive criticism, I would say, and how really India is going to tackle this. And the second talk, he talked about the terrorism, pandemic, and describe the India's role to address these issues, which is one of the important factor. He also emphasized the need of international cooperation and India's commitment to contribute in global solution. The last one, he talked a lot about vision for the future, and the future has India is the forefront of every single development which is going to embraced by the world in coming years. And why India? Because India in the absolutely perfect synergy, having perfect synergy of young population, technology advancement, government willpower, um, and the influence that we have developed over the years, which is quite supportive in terms of taking a leap of faith and at the same time taking an initiative for the modern world. And he has also talked about the responsibility of the global stakeholders promoting peace, stability, and prosperity while safeguarding the national interest. So that's all about this book, and it gives some, quite a exciting update. I just give you the summary about it. And if you wanted to have a little more Indian story around the G20, how all started, how it have worked, and the particular title, couple of the titles very interesting. The one is the transformational decade, which gives a lot of great insight, and which I should cover in a new video, I guess. So that's all about this particular book?